Hello, dear friends. Reasoning with wisdom and discernment is the key to thriving amidst deception. Opinion piece, abundance, end of scarcity, planetary wealth, operational shift, artificial poverty, community in harmony. We create our own destiny. Let's start. Guardian Daniel declares the end of the artificially manufactured scarcity that has characterized the current system and announces the transition to a model of planetary abundance. He mentions the dismantling of resource-constraining agendas and the shift to a paradigm where abundance becomes accessible in areas such as energy, food, health, and technology. The concept of manufactured scarcity refers to the idea that much of the scarcity of resources, goods, or services experienced by society is not an avoidable natural limit, but rather artificially maintained by economic, political, or corporate systems. Star Trek, with its replicators, illustrates how abandonments render many current economic systems unnecessary. A physical migration from a matrix of scarcity to a prosperous and flourishing economy can be achieved through the gradual integration of advanced declassified technologies. We are in transition to an era where prosperity, health, and resources are no longer privileges, while fluidity unfolds, stabilizing the collective consciousness of the human family on a foundation of absolute security. Scarcity may exist in nature, but much of the scarcity we perceive in everyday life is created or exaggerated to generate profit, social control, or power. Instead of maximizing production and efficient distribution, systems incentivize artificial constraints to maintain high prices, consumer dependency, and power hierarchies. The post-scarcity economy is a concept that describes an economic situation in which most basic goods and services can be produced in abundance with minimal human effort, thanks to technological advancements. In this paradigm, products become so accessible that they would be available for free or at a very low cost to the population, eliminating the need to ration resources due to scarcity. Although we do not live in a fully post-scarcity economy, partial elements of it exist. Software and digital content are almost free and abundant once created. Global agricultural production could feed more than 10 billion people. However, scarcity persists due to problems of distribution policies and business models. Economists and thinkers like Thorstein Veblen argue that companies prefer to operate under conditions of scarcity because it generates higher profit margins than in a market of true abundance and perfect competition. In short, the post-scarcity economy is not just the technological issue, but the profound shift in how we organize society, the value and the meaning of human life, once freed from basic material pressures. It is argued that clean, cheap, or unlimited energy technologies have been suppressed or slowed down to protect the interests of the energy industry. The destruction of food supplies keeps prices high, even though global production could feed more people. Restrictive urban planning regulations, financial speculation, and land grabbing limit the housing supply despite the technical capacity to build more. Self-management. According to Laura Aboli, we have been conditioned to delegate responsibilities. Our health our education, our safety, our finances, our food, our children, our community, and ultimately our future. We were taught that someone else knew better, that experts would take care of everything, that institutions would solve our problems, and that our role was simply to obey orders. Look around you and ask yourself where this path has led us. The dystopian nightmare so many of us fear wasn't built overnight. It was built little by little, with small acts of delegation, responsibilities relinquished one after another, decisions that allowed others to think, decide, and act on our behalf. Tyranny doesn't thrive because of a handful of powerful people exist, but rather when millions of capable people stop governing themselves. The answer is self-management, and it begins when we stop waiting to be rescued by politicians, savers, or institutions, and accept that we are responsible for our lives. Our health is our responsibility. Our being is our responsibility. Our families, our values, our community, and our decisions are our responsibility. The moment we reclaim that responsibility, something extraordinary happens. We cease to be victims of circumstance and become creators of our own destiny. We stop reacting to the world and begin to shape it. It is easy to control the population of dependent people, but it is impossible to enslave a population of strong, independent, and self-sufficient individuals. And herein lies the paradox. Individuality is the answer, but unity is the key to victory. Neither conformity nor collectivism nor a hive mindset. Free individuals who think for themselves, govern themselves, take responsibility for their actions, and work together toward a common vision. Free individuals who think for themselves, govern themselves, take responsibility for their actions, and work together toward a shared vision. It's a repetition. Prosperity. Orderly accounting. Anna von Reitz advocates for accountability for physical assets and condemns the mismanagement of central banks, demanding accountability to end poverty and ignorance. When energy becomes abundant, prosperity explodes, according to Rob Cunningham. Abundant energy can revitalize industries, reduce costs, and transform the economy, leading to greater prosperity, investment, and innovative opportunities for the community. In his view, public awakening and monetary system reform belong to a broader civilizational pattern to move humanity from centralized trust toward transparent, verifiable, and tamper-proof accountability systems. Middle East. Ending the conflict in the Middle East would reduce inflation risks. Negotiations with Iran are yielding positive results, but tensions remain high. The IAEA director says nuclear inspections in Iran will begin soon. Trump threatens to end negotiations if Iran charges tolls in the Strait of Hormuz. Lebanon and Israel are negotiating a truce in Washington. Economy. Wall Street failed to recover on Wednesday. Gold-backed bonds are the only real money. Goldman Sachs cuts its gold price forecast to $4,900. Brent crude oil falls below $74 for the first time since the start of the Iran affair. Spain. Trump lashes out at the Spanish government. In quotes, "It's a complete disaster." The National Court holds the deportation of a Venezuelan family and orders an assessment of the humanitarian reasons. Zapatero used the Spanish embassy in Bolivia for his business dealings. Police say Zapatero received 200,000 euros for mediating with Bolivia to benefit a Peruvian company. Americas. Evo Morales warns of a civil war in Bolivia from Chapare. I will not surrender, he said. Keiko Fujimori is poised to become the next president of Peru. Peru strengthens its advantage over is a mistake of the automatic translation. Delcy Rodriguez declares a state of emergency in Venezuela after two strong earthquakes. Two earthquakes in Venezuela measuring 7.2 and 7.5 leave structures at risk of collapse. Cities in northern Brazil also felt the earthquake that struck Venezuela. The Argentine government authorizes the merger of the main telephone companies. Informal employment rises in Argentina, reaching its highest level in 9 years. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.